Here's a clip from the Southwestern Lead app.
You are what you do, not what you say. And the reason why I'm sharing that with you is because does anyone know which mountain this is? Kilimanjaro. Well spotted, that man, right? Kilimanjaro. I was lucky enough to go up Kilimanjaro in 2002, and there was a guy there that was carrying everything. I thought I was tough. I had a camera, okay, and a raincoat, and I went up, man. You know, these guys up there, they've got the blooming bandanas around their head, about 150 pounds on their back, and they're walking up there. And every time I pass one, thinking, "Cool, I'm tough." All right, he's there, almost jogging past in flip-flops. And the thing is, you have flip-flops. They're called flip-flops. Okay. And the thing is, every time I go past him, being quintessentially English, "Hiya, you all right? How are you?" And every time I said, "How are you?" he'd go, "Strong." And I like that. I like that to the extent now that when I meet people and they say, "How are you?" I go, "Strong." Because that's what started my journey. And then the other thing is this is my coat of arms. This is my family coat of arms. This is the Lotherington coat of arms, all right? Now, what's interesting about this one is it's plain, really, really plain, which means apparently, so they tell us, it means it's really old. I don't know how true that is or not. But the thing is, what I noticed about it is there's no motto. So I have devised for my family, if any of my girls, I've got 4 children, all of them girls, all of them teenagers, which is the reason why I like taking assignments in all those countries. The thing is that I came up with our family motto. And our family motto is 2 words. We do. We do. I got so fed up of hearing people saying they're going to do something. Now, the Latin for we do, interestingly enough, is nos faceso. Okay? And then when I looked up what nos faceso is, when you translate it back, it is really fascinating. It means these 3 words: execute, experience, accomplish. Which I think is pretty cool, right? And I'm thinking this is a good principle. So what actually happened is I decided to do triathlon. Now, what Dan forgot to mention is the reason why I took up triathlete is because I was trying to be an athlete, right? That was what is the reality of it all. Okay? And the reason why I was ranked in 2006, I did for national ranking, and I was ranked 13th in the UK for my age group. Just goes to show how poor the standard was of triathlon in the UK, right? But someone said, "Are you quite tough and you think do something, so do you want to go and race to the North Pole?" Random, I've never even put skis on before in my life, and I stupidly found myself saying yes. Okay. Now, to give you an idea about this one, all it is basically I was told you're going to shuffle along some skis over some water. It's going to be really nice, a little bit like this picture here, and you just have to pull this little pulp thing behind you. Nice and easy. So basically, what I wanted to do is thinking, oh, right, I signed up for that. Now, what's interesting is the London Marathon. I'm just going off on a tangent here. The London Marathon is the second largest marathon in the world behind New York. All right? Now, they open it up, and 250,000 people want to go into the London Marathon every single year. And they offer places to 48,000. Now, it's formulaic. 48,000 people get offered places on the London Marathon. But what's fascinating is only 36,000 start. What percentage is that? That's nearly a quarter. Do not even make it to the start line. Now, how many people, once they start, do you think drop out? Out of 36,000, who here thinks it's more than 1,000 people drop out of the London Marathon? It's less than 100. It's less than 100. Where's the real race? Before you start. Let me share with you this one. We raced the North Pole. What was interesting between the 3 of us, a team of 3, is one of us was going through a divorce, one of us was moving house, and one of us lost a job. Do you know that on the scale of most stressful things in your life, in the top 15 is losing your job, getting divorced. What was the other one? Moving house, that's right, sorry. Thank you. It's getting late.
Southwestern Lead is an international leadership program that helps you build skills, gain confidence, and discover new opportunities. With professional coaching, a world-class digital learning platform, and certifications that will enhance your resume or application, Lead sets you apart. We'll show you how to turn success principles into success habits through small group training, one-on-one coaching, and guided action plans to help you apply what you're learning. It takes more than academics to reach your goals. See what one of America's oldest leadership training programs can do for you. Visit southwesternlead.com.
Now the thing is that we didn't know how to ski, we didn't know how to go and do this, well, we had lots of excuses to come up there. Now if you notice, we call those rationalize. Now I was taught we don't use the word rationalize, you call them rational lies. Plausible sounding excuses for poor performance. Plausible sounding excuse for poor performance. Now despite that, without that, we decided to go on. And this is what's so interesting. Some of you may know that Tenzing Norgay and Sir Edmund Hillary were the guys that conquered, the first people to conquer Mount Everest. And it was Edmund Hillary that said, it's not the mountain we conquer, but ourselves. Now with that in mind, we decided that we would go and race. And we flew over to Canada. It was an 8-hour flight from London over to Ottawa. And then it was another 8-hour flight to go to the northern part of Canada. And you might be able to see on here that actually you could probably see that's the Northern Passage, that gap there, which is now becoming almost ice-free for people's boats now. But normally it's always frozen. There's the Arctic Circle that goes around there. So we flew from Ottawa to Iqaluit, and Iqaluit to a place called Resolute. Now all of this place is within the Inuit community, okay, in the state of Canada called Nunavut. And the reason why it's called Nunavut is there's no alcohol sold in it. Now the thing is, this is what greeted us when we landed in Nunavut. Now some of you went, this is this is not And this is what was outside the hotel when we got there, okay? This is a polar bear skull they feed the dogs to eat and chew on. They hunt polar bears, right? This was just to show the size of the incisors of a polar bear, okay, which is the largest carnivorous animal in the northern hemisphere, okay? Now, lucky for us, they had the most reported sightings of polar bears that they had for the previous 25 years. Now, the race went from Resolute to this starting point. Resolute to the starting point was 60 miles to get to the start line. 3 days to get to the start line, which you might think was a bit weird. Why didn't they start the race in Resolute? Which was exactly what we thought it. We got to the start line, okay? And when we were on the way to the start line, and this is me with my mates Martin and Miles, okay? And when we were going there, this is, have a face cover, your breath would freeze. Because it was minus 50 degrees centigrade for those people that speak normally, and minus 58 Fahrenheit for those that choose to be in the dark ages. And this is what happens. Your breath just freezes. And what we used to do as entertainment, because there wasn't an awful lot out there, was we would grow these kind of frozen beards and see what shape they would turn into. Now, at the start line, the reason why I'm showing this picture of Mike here is because at the start line, they come along to you after 4 days getting to the start line, and they ask you, this guy was the biggest guy. He was 6'4", okay, he was pretty wide. He had the longest to train because he wasn't able to do the previous year's race, so he'd been training for an extra year to go and do this race. They went around every single tent. There's 8 teams, the international teams of 3 people. And they asked people if they wanted to start the race. Now, they went into our tent and asked us if they wanted to race. Now, all 3 of us looked at each other and went, we've gone all this way and you're asking us to race? What a stupid question, get out. Mike said, no, I don't want to race. Which I thought was quite incredible. He was the biggest guy there, the strongest person. Now, the race started, and just in case we didn't know it was started, they wrote start on the floor there. And it'd been beautiful weather the whole time we were there. Beautiful weather the whole time we were there. And then what actually happened is the gun goes, and this is what we looked at. Whiteout. For those skiers amongst us, you know what whiteout is. Now, this is what we raced into. Now, the night of before we raced, the polar bear had been through the camp and ripped up one of the empty tents looking for food. All right? Which they didn't tell us until the next day on the radio. So this is what we're going. I left the ski picture in there so you can see that that is genuinely just not a bad lens. Right? That's what we're looking at. And then off we go. And one of the sayings we have is the map is not necessarily the territory, because what we were dealing with was ice rubble an awful lot of the time. And this is going through this. It wasn't as easy as we thought it was going to be. Now, this is our first night. This is 2 o'clock in the morning. Okay. It's daylight all the time. And just to make sure that the polar bears didn't find us, we had bright orange tents. Now, what happened is 5 days into the race, Martin got blistering, you can see on the heel there, and it got infected with septicemia.